Hi, this is Cal Ripken Jr., and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
The ML Sports Platter back with you all over the major platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple. Download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. I'm on Twitter at Mike L. Sports. The ML Sports Platter is all a part of the Brawl Network. Catch me on all the social platforms as well with 1-minute ML Sports takes, 9-minute with Mike Lindsley segments. And if you have ideas for the program, questions about your favorite teams, the games, whatever the case may be, hit me. Mike L. Sports 1979. Mike L. Sports 1979 at gmail.com. Let's talk some Major League Baseball and preview the Yankees season and some other offhand news and notes with the terrific, longtime journalist, best-selling author, storyteller, ScottPitoniak.com, Rochester Business Journal. He's covered the Buffalo Bills for decades, the SU alum. What a terrific media career. At Scott Pitoniak on Twitter. Scott, welcome aboard, bud. Great to have you again, and spring is in the air, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How can you not do well? The sun's shining. We're going to have a stretch here that's pretty good. Baseball's almost starting. March Madness, all good. Coming to life again.
No doubt. Let's start with, we're going to dive into, Yankees and some Major League Baseball. We'll talk about some acquisitions, some free agent signings in your household, by the way, too. I want to start right behind the plate. I mean, when is enough with Gary Sanchez? This guy, they bring him back again. We're hearing all the same tune here, Scott. He looks great. He's in awesome shape. He had a great offseason. He's focused. We believe in Gary. I mean, how is this going to be different? And frankly, Gary Sanchez is one of the prototypical examples of the Yankees. How is any of it going to be different from a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not negative on the whole thing with the Yankees, but in that particular area is of great concern, to me. I mean, it's the second most important position on the field, and you could argue maybe it's the most important position because pitchers can only pitch, starters can only go, every 5 days or whatever. So this is a guy that you're going to try to rely on for 140 games. You've got a lot of things that need to be done with the pitching staff in terms of, some young pitchers and stuff who need to be coaxed along, and a catcher can play an important role in that as well. But, yeah, I just thought this was something that really needed to be addressed, and Cashman didn't do it. It was obviously the biggest concern, that and adding, some starting pitching. But it was, the off season, to go into this year. So I don't see how anything's going to be any different. I think it's going to be the same old story. Is he going to, is he going to hit $150 again? Probably not. It'd be pretty hard to do that again. And there's no, there's going to be less of a coronavirus excuse this time around, I think, with, let's hope, with a full schedule and so forth. So I just, to be that close, as they are, and to not address such an important position and kind of rolling the dice with that is just really unnerving. Again, I have the same level of confidence in Sanchez that you do, Mike, in that I just don't see it.
Right.
I wanted to cut loose, and and you weren't going to get anything on your investment. I get all that, but you needed to be a bigger player and go get at least a passable catcher. I mean, it's the same stuff here. The guy's going to, strike out, close to 40% of the time. He's not a good defender. They've got I was looking the other day. It's amazing now with baseball. They have coaching staffs now, like, that are as big as football staffs percentage-wise, and they have a catching specialist on this team. Remember, he did all that work last year with doing this and that with Gary. I guess they forgot about doing the things that Paul O'Neill and everybody else could see, like as far as his batting stance and stuff, and his approach to the plate. But, I mean, what good did that do last year? So am I supposed to believe, he's in better shape, he's getting all this now? Am I supposed to believe this? I don't think so.
No doubt. Zack Britton, that injury, how serious do you think this is? How big of a blow? I mean, he's out for a while, and here we go again with the injuries, Scott. There's another thing. Prove to me that it's different. Yeah, they've had a little bit of a better spring, but Britton is a key piece here in the bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. It seems like during the spring, and I know you can't put too much stock, but I've been really pleased with the pitching that I've seen, during the spring, and you got to hope that, that stuff carries over into the regular season. My joke with the Yankees is they should hire the Bills training staff. I know they're two different sports, but look at the Bills over the last couple of years. It's one of the big reasons, in addition to all these other things, but one of the big reasons why they, have been able to make quantum leaps and so forth. And the Yankees, for being the franchise with the deepest pockets and should have the best people at every level, for them to continue to have issues here with injuries is quite concerning. But I think that if and obviously there's a lot of ifs all the way around, but I think that they can weather this storm. Piecing some things together. Now if they go out and and Chapman pulls a Chapman and he can't be relied on, every other save opportunity or whatever, then they've got some real issues and stuff like that. But I think that they can cobble this together. I'm more concerned about the catching. That's to me, that is my biggest concern. And then we'll also see, I guess, beyond that will be they're rolling the dice with a lot of starting pitchers here. But, at some point, they've got to develop these young pitchers.
Yes.
At some point, this organization has to do that.
Just get one, two. Yeah. I mean, what? Yeah. Because you and I, we've talked about this a million times. I'm not asking for you to go fill out your whole rotation with your farm. That is, no team really in MLB does that. But Scott, this is the Yankees. The resources, the international scouting, the development, everything that Cashman did 5 years ago. Clearing out Chapman and Miller and bringing in the Hall from Chicago with Torres and Frazier and company from Cleveland. All of that going on and building the minor league system back. And, albeit they signed Stanton as well. But goodness, just can one of these guys do something? Loaizaga, all these guys, Davy Garcia, all these youngsters, can one of these guys, Jordan Montgomery, can one of them do something? Can one of them come out of the group?
Yeah, and I said last year that I'm still high on Montgomery. Now, again, it is tough to judge with some of the things that happened last year and stuff with it being, the COVID shortened season and dealing with so many unknowns. And I think, all of us, sports and otherwise, are a little bit better equipped to deal with, what we're facing right now than the unknown before. I think Montgomery, I'm still high on him. I think the guy knows how to pitch. Herman has looked good. I mean, there's no question about it. And Garcia, I was very impressed last year. But it comes back to the point here of, you should have the best scouts. And you should have the best farm system. You should have the best teachers. It's inexcusable that and they've got all these guys up on the big club. Like I said, they got a coaching staff that they're going to need another dugout, to keep all these guys now. I mean, come on, so develop these guys. I mean, you should be able to find the best teachers and stuff to do this. So I'm really looking for them to get a lot out of Montgomery, a lot out of Herman and Garcia. I really do. And like you said, it's about time. It's about time that, develop somebody. Develop an arm every couple of years. I don't think that's asking, too much. Let's go with it. Come on. And I know you're plugging some things in here, Gleyber and he's looked good, and I'll tell you what, if you get what you could get out of him and Jameson Taillon, I think that they could be lights out if those two come in, because we know you can count on Cole, and I know that his numbers have not been good in spring training, but he's experimenting with things. I mean, is anybody really worried about him? I'm not. So yeah, this rotation, we're going to see how it plays out. It looks like Herman has beaten out Garcia at this stage, for that fifth spot. But Garcia's going to get his opportunities because, again, you've got a couple of ifs here in your second and third in this rotation, and I just think Montgomery's going to have. I think he's going to have an excellent year. I could see a 15-win season out of him this year. I really do. I just love the way he knows how to pitch. I'm just tired of all these guys throwing
the nibblers,
brick walls.
Yeah.
Just come on. Give me a guy who knows what he's doing. So
no doubt. I mean, and I'm very intrigued. I mean, the damaged goods are obviously there with Tyone, and you've got Corey Kluber, of course, guys who have just had an unbelievable amount of injuries the last couple of years. But some people have labeled it risk-reward. I don't really do it that way, because risk-reward is you bring in somebody, it's a risk, but you're hoping for the reward. That's not what they're doing here. They're bringing these guys in to be reward only. I mean, Cashman brought these guys in to be two major staples in this rotation. Scott, that's oh, man, I mean, not knowing where everybody's going to be after Cole, which is just mind-blowing because, you for a while you needed the ace. That was the one missing piece for the Yankees. They bring in Cole. Now the rest of the rotation is a huge question mark and has been for a couple of years now. I just think that's bringing in those damaged goods to be potential 2 and 3 guys is, I don't know. You got to have all reward there,
Yeah, and again, look, they're going to have to manage pretty closely, like their pitch counts and stuff like that, over the course going back to a full season, and that's why I think that Montgomery and Herman and Garcia and maybe Schmidt, he's dealing with some injury issues and stuff, but you're gonna need production out of these guys. There's no question about it. Those guys got to come through for you, and so yeah, it's a roll of dice. But to me, and my feelings on Cashman. I think he's extremely, extremely, extremely overrated, and I think when it comes to pitching, he has a really bad track record of wasting money and not identifying. I mean, yeah, he got Sabathia right. You and I could get Sabathia right. I mean, I'm not going to give him huge things. And Tanaka, they got their money's worth out of, relatively speaking. But he never became, the pitcher he was in Japan over here and stuff. But he had a solid career, and I think it was time to part there. I didn't have an issue with that. So we're going to see. We're going to see, and Lazaga, I think. There's a place for him, and he may even as a spot starter, I suppose. Again, there's a lot of ifs. There's no question about it. But I still think they're the best team in the American League East. But that's not what this is all about. This is about you got to Game 6, and you built to go to a World Series. I mean, this is is this tied for the longest stretch in team history or something? It's something close to it. Not appearing in a World Series.
Yeah, I think you got to at least get there this year, right? I mean, my gosh, you might go up and you might make the World Series and lose to the juggernaut Dodgers. You might lose to the Padres look really good. We'll get into the rest of the league, but I mean, I think you gotta get there, Scott, and this year too. And we can kind of blend it in now, actually, in that if you look around the American League, I think the AL is way down, man. I really do. I mean, Houston, the pieces have kind of come off of there a little bit. You don't know if Verlander is coming back. You can't trust the Angels. The A's lose big pieces. Rangers, no way. The AL Central after the White Sox is meh, in my opinion. And the East, Tampa, the Yankees' biggest competitor, probably still in the division because of just the fits they give them and their bullpen, and somehow they'll figure out the pitching. Don't worry. They're down a little bit because Morton's gone and Snell's gone. So I think the AL is down this is also a perfect time for the Yankees. Like, come on, dude. Here's the window. Can it go higher? Can you open the window higher for them?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, I'm not concerned about the division. I mean, yeah, Toronto's got a great young core, but I'm still wondering about their pitching.
Bullpen's a little rocky too.
Yeah, but I mean, they got a great core. There's no question about it. Yep. It's like go around an infield, man.
And you add Springer too.
Adding Springer. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna make you work. You're gonna have to score runs against them. I mean, you're not pitching 1-0 shutouts against them. I just don't see that. But then you look at, I just think Tampa is down. I mean, they can't every year just snap their fingers and somehow come up with a ton of arms and cobble together their expanded bullpen and stuff to give you innings or whatever. I think that they should make hay against them, and we know the Orioles are the Orioles, and the Red Sox are down. You should really stack up wins there. That should not be an issue. And as you say, the American League as a whole, I do think, could this be the year for the White Sox to emerge? I mean, they've got some great young talent and stuff, and I'm just wondering, could they be a year ahead of schedule type deal? But again, it's all about, with the Yankees, it's all about October, right? I mean, and this is a team that just doesn't go deep in October or even November, I guess now. I don't know what the series schedule is again, but so they got a lot of question marks there, and it just, I think the other thing that concerns me again, and we always go back to the injuries and stuff, is the outfield. Mm-hmm. And Stanton was lights out in the postseason. It'd be great to see some of that, spread out over the regular season and actually see him play. Aaron Judge, when he's on and in, he's one of the, he's a top 10 player in baseball. But the whole availability issue is the thing, and hopefully, they restructured their workout program so that these guys were not trying to lift tractor trailers and all this other baloney, and stuff, and actually did some baseball specific stuff so that hopefully they will, hold up. But is this going to be? I don't want to be seeing Brett Gardner again, playing, 130, 140 games. I don't want to see that. I mean, it's time to move on, and it's time for these other guys to establish themselves. I'm excited about Frazier. I really am. I think he's dynamite, and I think, he doesn't have to look over his shoulder anymore. I think it was smart of the Yankees to put Gardner in right field and give him some work in right field, because who knows, and Aaron Hicks is another guy, that
always hurt.
Durability.
Always hurt.
Issues. So I don't know. I look at it. I got Giancarlo Stanton, I've got Aaron Judge, and I got Aaron Hicks. Can I count on him? I think you look at the infield, I think Torres bounces back. He's young and he's extremely talented. I don't think we're gonna have another year like that. I think he's the real deal, and I think he's gonna bounce back well. LeMahieu, I don't need to say anything, right?
He's so good. Oh my God.
Pencil him in.
Yeah.
Pencil him in. Luke Voigt, he's your slugger at first, and they're committed to him, and that's fine. That's fine. And then Urshela is he's tremendous defensively, and so hopefully continue to get offense out of him as well. So they're good enough. There's no question about it. And if these gambles come through, they could win a World Series. But that's asking a lot. To have Kluber and Jameson pitch the way they did 2-3 years ago, it's asking a lot. But we'll see. But they are good enough. If a lot of ifs come to fruition.
Best-selling author, the terrific journalist, long time, of course, Scott Pitoniak with us on the ML Sports Platter, Rochester Business Journal, at Scott Pitoniak on Twitter. Around baseball, a lot of excitement, a lot of teams making moves. Give me a team in the AL, give me a team in the NL you're looking forward to watching in 2021.
Well, as I mentioned, the Chicago White Sox in the AL. I just, they've done all that, hoarding of young talent. They've been suffering through the misery to get to that point. I'm excited about them. I think the National League is going to be. The Mets are. They're a much better team right now. There's no question about it, and I'm kind of excited about it. I think that's going to be a very entertaining division. And I think you should see a bounce back by the Nationals. Ryan Zimmerman's going to come back after his opt out last year. Scherzer is as good as it gets, right? I mean, and they've got some, Juan Soto, to me, like he might be the best player in the game. It's either probably he or Trout, right, or Tatis at this point. So I think the Mets, it's going to be interesting. The Mets are going to, they've got an owner that will spend money now. And is a fan of the team and stuff, and they've been so restricted for the past 5 to 10 years because of the Madoff money, when Madoff with the Mets money, and the Wilpons, and they just made a lot of mistakes. So I think that that's going to be a really intriguing division. The Phillies they've got some good players as well. And so that I'm really looking forward to that. You mentioned San Diego, of course. God. Fernando Tatis in particular. He's a lot of fun to watch. I mean, just go on YouTube and watch some of his highlights, and you realize there's there's a great crop of young players in baseball right now. Young, great, entertaining players. So. But let's face it, the Dodgers are loaded, and on paper, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball without question. But I think that could be a hell of a race, and I'm kind of looking forward to that to see how that unfolds, especially with the pitching that San Diego's added. So that should be kind of intriguing to watch,
Yeah, San Diego, by the way, $814 million in the infield now. And so can we please stop talking about salary caps and the powers in baseball, and it's like a 5-team league and all this? People are still on that. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers and everybody else. No, it's not. It's not. The high payrolls are there. We get it. The Yankees are high. The Dodgers are high. There's a couple others that are high. We know the Angels are high. Okay. But everywhere you go, someone has somebody, unless you are the Rays trading people and they're still competitive because they just figure it out, or you are, a team maybe in the NL that has a pretty consistent pattern in terms of just kind of grinding it out and seeing if young guys, can come to fruition, like the Miami Marlins, a team that made the playoffs last year. Scott, Nolan Arenado, the Colorado Rockies are paying the Cardinals $50+ million to not have him on the team. So this stuff going around in baseball, it drives me crazy. People just don't understand this. If this sport, and this is what I'm getting at, if this sport needed a cap, we would have had 5 repeat winners the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That whole thing. I've long learned people tend to side with ownership and management, in all these arguments and stuff. And I remember Roger Kahn, the great, the author of The Boys of Summer, and, the great Brooklyn Dodgers teams. He told me one time, he goes, well, if they're losing money, open the books. Let's see the books.
That's it.
They're not losing money. It's just I laugh like the NFL. The NFL put their salary cap down to 181 million, 182 million or whatever, and they just signed $100 billion plus television contract. I mean, come on.
Yep.
What is that? So, is that going to be reflected in the the cap? Well, they might. You might 5 years from now we might see a $250 million cap. There's still, think about that. Each team's going to get over $300 million. So, like before, I've paid all my salaries, and I haven't sold a single beer or ticket yet. And I mean, think of the profits. You have to really, really be horrible to not be making tons of money. It's the same way in baseball. So I don't want to hear it. Like it bugs me when I see like a franchise like Cleveland, crying poverty or whatever, and they've got to let this guy go.
Right, Carrasco, Lindor, all these guys, Clevenger. Yeah. See you later, everybody. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we got to do a fire sale here because it was. Look at. I know everybody lost a lot of money last year, but I'm sorry, but these guys have such tremendous reserves of money and stuff like that, and they have all these these revenue streams. Like, yeah, the NFL is by far and away the king, but the Major League Baseball is not the Little Sisters of the Poor. Okay, it's an $11 to $12 billion a year industry. Let's not kid ourselves like that. There's not money there. Even the Yankees, you got to listen to them.
Oh.
Whining like, give me a break. Really, when you got 20% of the country like filing for unemployment, and we got to listen to that. Give me a break. Come on.
No doubt. Before we get to some really awesome personal news for you, I know you guys are active in rescuing some kitties, which is pretty cool. Get into, if you don't mind, just some recent pieces that people can check out. RBJ.net, the Rochester Business Journal. I know one, Joe Altobelli, you came out with that piece, and really time to give him his due, and a couple others here, Scott, to highlight some of the fantastic pieces that you've done recently.
Well, Maya Chaka, the first black female NFL official, she's from Rochester, so I was able to get an exclusive interview with her.
Cool.
And did some, but Joe Altobelli is Mr. Baseball in Rochester, and I was shocked to find out that he is not a member of the Baltimore Orioles Hall of Fame.
Isn't that unbelievable? When I read your piece, my jaw was on the floor the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, come on, and so. There's always those little, bylaws or whatever, and like rules are rules. They're like, give me a freaking break. So their rule was essentially he needed to have 2.5 seasons of Major League service. Well, because Edward, Bennett Williams, the idiot owner of the Orioles at the time, fired him and brought back Earl Weaver. How did that work the second time around? Like, he stole your money, okay? But here's Alto, who has won as many World Series championships as Mr. Earl Weaver. And by the way, my argument is Earl Weaver is Bobby Cox, okay? Because forever there was tremendous talent that those teams had, and they underachieved. I'm sorry. One World Series title for all those Braves teams, one World Series title for the Orioles that were for 20 to 25 years the model franchise in baseball that had the best scouting staff, best minor league system and stuff, and just churned out star after star after star, great players throughout. And Alto managed 11 years in their system, including 6 here in Rochester, had 2 Governor's Cup teams, a little World Series championship team here. Guys like Gritch and Murray and Baylor, coming through here, and Scotty McGregor and Mike Flanagan and Boddicker and on and on and on. And but because they had this little thing here, like 2.5 years, he got fired just before that second, that halfway point of that third season. Mike, can't do it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He developed so many of those players that, Hank Bauer and Earl Weaver, made hay on, made money on and stuff like that. And won titles and this. So anyway, that was one. I'm doing a lot of writing. I have been for Memories and Dreams magazine. That if you're a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, you get it. It's a history magazine 6 times a year, and I just did a piece on Satchel Paige. This is the 50th anniversary of his induction as the first really all vintage Negro Leagues player. And if you remember, Satchel originally, Bowie Kuhn and the other folks, their original plan was, we're going to put the Negro Leaguers in the Hall of Fame, but we're going to put them in a separate room. I mean, can you believe this?
Unbelievable.
This is a stupidity. But anyway, Satchel Paige, they finally came around because all the columnists throughout the country went nuts on these guys. Like, really? I mean, Jim Crow's alive, huh? I mean, come on. And but that was a historically significant induction because that paved the way for Josh Gibson. And really, I think since that time, there's been a total of close to 35 players who were either pre-Negro League or Negro League players who never really got the opportunity to play in the white major leagues, and so so there's stories like that. I've got I really enjoy writing for that magazine because I learned so much. I got to do something on Carlton Fisk's home run and how that changed the way we cover sports in America, essentially, the famous Game 6 homer against the Cincinnati Reds in 1975 and stuff, and how a cameraman and a rat in the, in the bowels there of Fenway Park beneath the Green Monster, led to that shot being taken.
No doubt.
And so there's things like that I'm doing and working on a couple more book projects, one kind of Bills related as well. So it's just, just try to keep busy here in my post daily newspapering career.
Well, you and the wife went out and got a couple of kitties, huh? I know that we all love our pets. I know you recently had a really tough loss yourself, and they're all really hard to replace. There's no doubt. But this gives you some joy here, Scott. Not only helping out a couple of lives here, but gives you a little bit of a feeling moving forward a little bit for you guys, right?
Yeah, there's life back in the house. There's no question about that. We adopted we adopted them separately over the course of 3 weeks here. Liam, we adopted 2 tabbies, from the Pet Pride of Western New York.
Yep. Great group.
Which is there's just, I'm huge on all these rescue animal rescue groups and stuff because I just think they do heroic work. And we see the commercials there that really tug at your heartstrings, where you see the dog who's been abused on camera or the cat or this and it's just you don't have a heart if that doesn't touch you and so forth. And so there's just so many more organizations like that out there. And so we've got two rescues, Liam and Sunny, Sunny, and one's now about 9 months, and the other is driving me nuts. Is like between 3 and 4 months right now, and so you just see the interplay, And I will say the big brother is got remarkable patience putting up with all the baloney of the younger one that swats at it and this and that, and they're running all through the house, and you're just hoping that you don't hear too many things crash. Keep them out of my office so that they stay away from anything that means something to me or whatever, because they'll climb anywhere. That's what cats are known for.
No doubt.
But it's been great, and I would recommend that if you've never had a pet, or it's been you're an adult now and you haven't had a pet since you were a kid, I highly recommend that you go get a rescue dog, rescue cat, whatever, and you'll be shocked at what impact they have on your lives. I mean, it's cliche, but they really do become part of your family, and every one of them I've ever had has a different personality. It comes forward. You see it. They're entertaining. And, and they're demanding, just like kids, so it's a lot of fun. And, again, I can't say enough good about these organizations that do this work, because there's just, it's horrible to see the abuse that goes on out there. And you just think of the cold weather and some animal being out. It just really, really tugs at your heartstrings and stuff. So it's a great thing, and we've enjoyed it. Hopefully, we'll survive, and that the younger one will start to mature a little bit and not, and start to maybe get along a little bit better with his big brother, and kind of realize, like, if he wants to, he can paw you into next week, but he's showing restraint right now.
Well, that's terrific to hear. Scott Pitoniak, the best-selling author, the storyteller, a longtime journalist, of course. Go get him on Twitter, @Scott Pitoniak. All of his books, major bookstores, Amazon, and online where books are sold, just to name a few. You can go out and get, obviously, the terrific Remembrances of Swings Past, which I just read recently and enjoyed a lot. Of course, Color 'em Orange on the Jim Boeheim story. Baseball in Rochester, you name it, they're all there. And go pick them up, again, online where books are sold and major bookstores. And the Rochester Business Journal, the articles there are terrific as well. Scott, thank you, bud. Be well.
All right. Thank you, Mike. It's always a pleasure.
Always great to catch up with Scott. Make sure that you hit me on Twitter, @MikeLSports, and @Network Brawl. This podcast, the ML Sports Platter, all a part of the Brawl Network. I'm on Instagram, MikeLSports1979. Hey, listen, it's March, and you got to go if you live in Olean or just outside of Olean, or you can shop online. The Sports Locker is your Bonaventure apparel home for the ML Sports Platter. They've got a ton of great stuff there. The Atlantic 10 Tournament Championship shirts. They've got the regular season championship shirts. Head on over to Sports Locker's website. It's sportslocker.biz. sportslocker.biz. If you're a St. Bonaventure alum and you're looking for some great gear, support local and buy Bonaventure apparel at the Sports Locker. And they've got the Bona box that they offer. You can check out all their trophy and awards, the engraved gifts. They go above and beyond. It's a place I used to shop at all the time in school. The Sports Locker is your official Bonaventure home of apparel for the ML Sports Platter. Make sure, again, that you hit me on Twitter, @MikeLSports, and a big tip of the cap thank you also to Stanley Law Offices, Bryant and Stratton College, Ken's Auto Detailing, and our good friends at Camillus Golf Club. Go get that 2021 membership now at Camillus Golf Club. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.